Hi, my name is Dr. Alyssa Cohen with Pelvic Floor For Moms, and we're talking about urinary urgency today. Urinary urgency can happen whenever. A lot of people have it from very early in life through adulthood, but a lot of times it can also pop up postpartum just because of fluctuations in your body and your pelvic floor and things like that. So we're going to talk about what it is and what to do about it. I think that urgency, urinary urgency, meaning I have to run to the bathroom right now, also tends to come along with urinary frequency. So if you are on either ends of those spectrums, just understand that what the things I'm talking about are going to help both of those sorts of things. From a biomechanical standpoint, urinary urgency can come from too tight of pelvic floor muscles or too weak of pelvic floor muscles. Too tight of muscles, if those pelvic floor muscles, which are these muscles down here, this sling of muscles, your bladder sits right in the pelvic cavity, in front of your uterus. When those pelvic floor muscles are tight, because they're like a basket, when they contract, they lift up this way. And so tightness is going to put extra pressure on the bladder, and it's going to make it harder to fill all the way, and it's going to make it feel uncomfortable for it to fill all the way. So that is how tightness can contribute to urgency and frequency. Weakness can also contribute to urinary urgency and frequency in that those pelvic floor muscles just aren't strong enough to hold in the urine, and so when the bladder gets full enough, you gotta run to the bathroom so that you don't wet your pants. So can happen on either side of the spectrum. That is where it's nice to be assessed by a pelvic floor physical therapist to understand, am I tight, am I weak, what are we dealing with here? I will say though that tightness in my brain tends to be a certain type of person. So a very strong, fit person that exercises a lot tends to have tension in pelvic floor muscles. High anxiety people, type A sort of people, if you fall into that kind of category, you can kind of make an assumption that there's tightness in pelvic floor muscles, but we should always get assessed because sometimes I'm surprised by what I find when I assess internally too. So from that standpoint, if we have tightness, we're working on stretching, mobility, that kind of stuff. Eventually we might need to do some strengthening once we get rid of the tightness. We're always addressing mobility before stability. If we're just straight weakness, we're gonna work more on strengthening purely, both pelvic floor and core strengthening, but then also like hip abductors, hip rotators. Those muscles need to be strong too because those are going to contribute to stability and strength in the pelvic floor as well and help support those muscles. So it's going to be a global strengthening perspective if that's what we're dealing with. From a lifestyle perspective, there is lots of things that can contribute to urinary urgency. First of all, certain foods can be real strong bladder irritants. So coffee, alcohol, carbonated beverages, I feel like those ones are the main ones that people have issues with. So it doesn't mean that you have to forever cut them out. Just start to notice patterns, right? Like, okay, I have coffee in the morning and then by 10 a.m. the urgency is really bad, and then by 5 p.m. it's like toned down a little bit and I can tolerate it better. Understand that coffee then is likely a bladder irritant for you. So that doesn't mean you have to never drink coffee. It might mean that you should put some water in your stomach or some food in your stomach before you put coffee in your stomach, cutting down on the amount of coffee that you drink, or also recognizing that like, okay, well, it's not gonna be good for me to sit in a meeting that I can't get out of after coffee at 10 a.m. and like those sorts of things are gonna be better in the afternoon or whatever it looks like. Also, alcohol. So usually a lot of times people will have alcohol in the evening and then the next morning they have a lot of urgency and frequency. So notice those things as well. Again, making sure that having some food with it, not on an empty stomach, those sorts of things can help as well. Carbonated beverages, so like your LaCroix and all that kind of stuff, those can be sneaky. So notice, and again, you can choose to cut them out. You don't have to choose to cut them out if they really enhance your life, but they might make your symptoms worse. So jumping back to actually biomechanical issues, the way the brain talks to the bladder is this neurological loop, and the way that gets innervated is this part of your back where your ribs and your lumbar spine starts. That's where those nerves come out and talk to your bladder. So a lot of times thoracic mobility and the mobility of the spine in that area can impact what the bladder is doing. So I will treat that a lot of times in the clinic with either needling or cupping or other mobility aspects. But at home, you can do some thoracic mobility. So some thoracic extension over the foam roller, over the Pilates ball, things like that, or even some rotation stuff. I have a nice like shoulder thoracic rotation stretch on that mobility and stretching playlist. So that can be another factor that can contribute to urgency from a biomechanical perspective. Okay, so back to lifestyle stuff. So in terms of lifestyle, one thing that people often do when you have urgency is just in case peeing. So you're gonna go out and do errands. You know that I tend to run into issues. I don't wanna be stuck at the grocery store having to pee and not being able to find a bathroom. So I'm gonna empty my bladder before I leave the house, go do my errands, come back and I can pee again. Well, when you're going to the bathroom, when your body does not have to, or if you're getting just a small urge and you're like, oh, I gotta go, I'll just empty my bladder, your body and brain and your bladder start to learn that like, I don't have to fill very far because I know that if I just give a little bit of a signal, she's gonna go pee and empty and I don't have to do my job. So we call that just in case peeing. No just in case peeing. We need to make sure that your bladder is filling all the way, you get that urge to go use the bathroom, and then you can go to the bathroom. Normal void windows, so like the amount of time between bathroom trips, is 2 to 4 hours. If you're postpartum or if you're one of those people that has always had urgency, 2 hours might be reasonable. If you've never had urgency before and now you're postpartum, you could maybe think about getting back up to that 4-hour range. So if you're an hour after going to the bathroom, recognize your bladder is probably not full and you probably need to tell it like, no bladder, we're gonna fill all the way. And so not going to the bathroom until you've made sure that your bladder is full. And that being said, we can use something called urge delay techniques to help you when you get those urges at inappropriate times, basically. So that might just mean that you're getting that urge or you're giving into that urge every hour or so, which we want to start to space out those windows. Or we can have something called like a key in the door syndrome, where your body and bladder and brain know that, oh, she's getting home from running errands. I see the garage door open. I'm reaching for the door to get into the house. I gotta pee right now. And then you're dancing around / like sometimes we're wetting our entire pants, right? And you have a puddle on the floor because you've wet yourself. Those are the times when we need to use urge delay techniques to help tell your brain and your bladder, calm down. I will go to the bathroom. I will walk slowly and calmly to the bathroom, and then you can go, which then just starts to help rewire that pattern so that it doesn't recur eventually, ideally. So some of those urge delay techniques are quick flicks, we call them. So quick pelvic floor and contract, relax. So contract, relax quickly. 5 or 10 reps of that. Some deep breathing, just breathe in, breathe out, relax and calm that nervous system. That can be calming and helpful to help you get to the bathroom. Or one I really like is heel raises. So just going up and down on your toes. 10, 20 times can help that urge decrease as well. So what we're looking for to happen with those urge delay techniques, if you are every hour peer kind of thing, I don't necessarily need you to just like jump from an hour to 2 hours. What we want to be doing initially is, okay, my urge is 7 out of 10. I'm going to wet my pants. I do my urge delay techniques. Okay, calm my nervous system. I'm back to 3 out of 10 urge. I'm going to walk calmly to the bathroom. Okay, I'm halfway there. Urge gets strong again. Okay, I do 5 or 10, 20 heel raises. I calm my nervous system again. I can make it further. All the way to the bathroom, and then again, we're not like ripping off your pants and hopping on the toilet. We're calmly, if you're there and you have to really go again, do a few more urge delay techniques. Calmly pull down your pants, calmly sit on the toilet. We need to calm that nervous system, which again is going to rewire that pattern of urgency and I have to go right now. So those are the things that we want to think about with urgency. Again, pelvic floor PT can really be helpful, but also there's a lot of lifestyle aspects to urgency and frequency that can be really impactful at home as well. So let us know if you have any questions in the comments.